Alien Workshop. Alien Workshop started in Dayton, Ohio in the early 1990s. The distance from the epicenter of skating's epicenter of Sokol wasn't an accident. It was strategy. Early videos like Memory Screen and Time Code set the tone, and a young Rob Dyrdek signaled they could spot talent before the world did. Then came the corporate storm. In 2008, Burton acquired DNA Distribution, the parent company that owned Alien Workshop. In 2012, Rob Dyrdek took over. The question lingered. Could a brand built on strangeness keep its pulse inside a boardroom? Team shifts and departures showed strain. The video arc said yes and no. Photosynthesis pushed the style into the new decade. Mind Field in 2009 carried a Spike Jonze-adjacent polish. Clean pacing, narrative, and sick music cuts that was clearly edited by the visionary filmmaker. On the boards, Mike Hill's hand was obvious. Collage layers, sharp type, and abstract icons turned decks into small gallery pieces. The look never blinked. That consistency worked like armor. Keeping operations rooted in Ohio kept control in the culture, not just the product. But the storm hit in 2014 when the doors shut. Fans didn't let the idea fade. The relaunch in 2015 under Tom Yetter's distribution, with operation back in Ohio by 2016, proved the name could move across paperwork and still feel intact. So the payoff was simple. Alien Workshop showed the 2000s that a design-heavy identity could lead skate media far from LA, and that a cruise bond can be built as much by art direction as by parts, setting up a different way to think about teams and titles. Chocolate Skateboards. From Ohio, we now move to Los Angeles, where proximity and friendship set the terms. Chocolate Skateboards, the poetry of friendship. What happens when a brand treats a skate team like a family film cast, with graphics that read like credits? Chocolate answers by turning names into design. It launched in 1994 as Crail Tap's sister, built by Rick Howard and Mike Carroll to keep the crew together without splitting the home. The fix was simple. Make room for more riders while keeping one culture. A tour moment. When Chico Brenes couldn't fit in the van, made the need obvious. The solution wasn't a clone, but a second label with its own voice. The 2000s tested that idea. Riders moved, royalties mattered. Shops wanted fresh boards and steady drops. Could a family tone survive pressure like that? Chocolate kept the feeling close by making the visual system do the bonding work. Art director Andy Jenkins steered tone, and Evan Hecox, effectively part of the team, created the vast majority of the graphics. His city scenes, transit colors, and crisp name blocks, responsible for roughly 90% of the catalog, made every board feel like a cast list and gave the brand a consistent face. On video, the storytelling stayed personal. Spike Jonze's presence in the Crail Tap orbit shaped pacing and character beats, but the brand's own tapes did the heavy lifting. Las Nueve Vidas de Paco and the Chocolate Tour set that tone early on, while Se Habla Canique and Hot Chocolate carried it into the mid-2000s with clean titles and warm palettes. As the roster shifted, the fonts, colors, and credits kept riders anchored. Friendship turned into a working system, proof that things can be organized without losing heart, setting up a different kind of discipline to come. Baker Skateboards. Baker Skateboards was the party that built a business. How did a brand famous for chaos turn that energy into a disciplined machine? Baker did it by turning a crew into a plan. After Andrew Reynolds and Jay Strickland realized their differences were too deep, they split. Strickland took Bootleg, and Reynolds took Baker. Reynolds doubled down on a vision built on friendship, raw street skating, and a DIY mythos that felt unfiltered. The tone was loud, but the intent was organized. Early in the 2000s, the question on everyone's mind was, can Baker become a durable company? The answer showed up in the tapes. From Baker Bootleg and Baker 2G to Baker 3, the edits looked loose, but every choice served the personalities. Quick cuts, on-the-road bits, shop stops, and inside jokes turned riders into the product. Terry Kennedy became the personality of Baker 3, voice, presence, and skating that matched the brand's momentum. Andrew Reynolds set the rules while staying an icon. He shaped how footage got made, how tours ran, and how the team held itself. Baker, it's very honest. It's who we are at that time, he said, and that honesty also meant growth. He later spoke about regret over promoting a drug-focused lifestyle, and the shift towards sobriety across the crew marked a real change in values. The model scaled. Death Wish launched under Jim Greco and Eric Ellington in 2007, and Baker Boys distribution proved the DIY playbook could run bigger without losing tone. From there, another company tried a different kind of clarity, values first with a Zen-like purpose, and built to last through market weather. Element. Next came a brand that planted roots and built from principle. Element, the tree that survived the storm. Can a brand sell nature and calm in a decade obsessed with shock and spectacle? Element did, and made it stick. Founded by Johnny Shillareff in 1992 in Atlanta, Georgia, the tone was set early on. Environment, community, and longevity. The brand talked about care and craft when most pushed noise. That gave riders and shops a steady center in a loud market. Ownership shifts and the 2008 recession forced a test. Element's answer showed in the details. The tree and rings logo wasn't decoration, it was a promise. A tree for enduring strength, eternal life, beauty, wisdom, peace, survival, rebirth, and of course, nature. The circle for our planet, the half circle for the community that supports and uplifts it. 4 dashes for wind, water, fire, and earth. Every drop leaned on that meaning to hold the line during lean years. Product backed it up. Element pioneered eco-ideas like bamboo laminates before it was common. It also built Make It Count, a first-of-its-kind global amateur contest with the barracks that opened doors for unknown skaters. Local stops, clear rules, and real paths to get seen turned a slogan into a system. Shillareff showed up as a founder who framed skate as stewardship. That voice let Element sit in mainstream retail and still feel credible at core shops. The brand scaled the message with careful partners, Star Wars, National Geographic, Peanuts, extending reach without losing the theme. From that grounded stance, the scene was ready for a different lesson in movement and feel. Flip skateboards. The outsiders who rewrote style stepped in with a transatlantic shift. Deathbox, started in the UK in 1987, became Flip when Jeremy Fox and Ian Deacon moved the operation to the US in 1994. Leadership rallied around a Euro lens on tech skating. Tom Penny's natural rhythm and Jeff Rowley's drive set the tone. Style first, then force. That mix felt new on American streets. The run wasn't smooth. The team faced turnover, and the loss of Shane Cross shook the brand. Ali Boulala's accident and legal trouble added weight. Arto Sari stepped away, and the family mood dimmed. He later returned with an ad that read, "Home is where the heart is," a small line that said the bonds were still there. Now the videos. Sari arrived with a pulse many tried to copy. Songs matched pace. Edits let Tom Penny breathe, then hit hard with Rowley's push. Arto's intro used a cartoon because the camera missed a heavy fall, a detail that stuck. Really Sorry kept the standard high, and Mark Appleyard's run to Skater of the Year marked the brand's reach. Flip also built a graphic story. In 1996, they leaned into comic book art. Tom Penny asked for a Cheech and Chong graphic. It started unlicensed, then Cheech Marin got royalties, and in 2012, the full license led to a strong line. The method held. Veterans mixed with global talent, and a few near-mythic absences only deepened the legend. With field-driving decisions, the door opened for brands ready to push ideas with images and take risks in plain sight. A toy machine? Next came a brand that made artwork the battleground and the message. Toy Machine was Ed Templeton's Art War. Why did a Disney-like ad put a skate company in legal crosshairs and turn its art into legend? Toy Machine pushed buttons on purpose. Ed Templeton built it in 1993 with a goal: let the art lead. His drawings, photos, and blunt captions shaped the name and the tone, right down to the full title, Toy Machine Blood-Sucking Skateboard Company. He first partnered with Brad Dorfman of Vision, then moved under Todd Swank's Tom Yetto when control over Vision got shaky. The team's story ran hot and cold. Early momentum from Live led to big expectations. Then the entire team almost quit in 1994. Jamie Thomas stepped in to help rebuild the videos, while Templeton doubled down on how the brand spoke. This focus mattered after the Welcome to Hell fallout, when another reset could have ended the whole thing. Templeton kept the designs tight. Bold color blocks, strange, almost childlike characters. One ad spelled out Chad Muska's name with a collage of Playboy bunnies. Another ran the line, "Hey, we're Toy Machine. We're gay in a happy way and not the way you're thinking," which led to a lawsuit that cost $50,000. An anthrax mailer concept even drew FBI attention. The friction made the art risky and rebellious, and the videos propelled that forward. Brainwash and later programming injection kept Templeton's iconography while refreshing writers and pacing. Even as faces changed, their world stayed cohesive. Toy Machine's 2000s legacy is the artist-founder as compass. Values, visuals, and provocation fused into a brand, setting up a company that would run like a studio. Girl Skateboards. The studio model. From confrontation through art, we now move to a brand that organized creativity like a production house. Girl Skateboards. These cats operated like a film studio, with directors, art departments, and a shared universe. In 1993, when Mike Carroll and Rick Howard left World to start a writer-run home with Megan Baltimore, Spike Jonze, and Andy Jenkins shaping the tone, the goal was simple: keep skating fun, keep the crew tight, and build a system that churned out decks and media like a conveyor belt. The 2000s stressed that system. Royalty debates and writer exits raised a hard question: can a family brand handle business pressure without losing heart? Jeremy Rogers said, "I was getting my check, just not my actual royalties. I got a $3,000 guarantee a month, which operated as a minimum, meaning I get that no matter what. But if I sell over the minimum, I get the extras. Royalties kick in." Friction inside a skater-owned model was real. Still, the output kept rolling. Watch the video arc. Goldfish set the humor. Mouse refined pacing and inside jokes. Yeah, Wright went technical with invisible boards and sharp editing. Pretty Sweet pushed big production polish while keeping each part true to the writer. Through it all, the bathroom sign logo, designed by Jenkins, became shorthand for trust. Clean, constant, and everywhere. Behind the scenes, the art dump ran like a studio art department. Jenkins worked with Jeff McFetridge, Kevin Lyons, and Herschel Baltrotsky to keep a unified look. The wider Crail Tap orbit, Lakai and Four Star, let ideas and people move across projects, keeping momentum strong. Collaborations with Red, Hello Kitty, Kodak, and Sub Pop showed range without breaking character. Girls' 2000s contribution is the skater-owned studio. Consistent storytelling, high craft, and a system that could sustain generations. Useful perspective before a different team tried scaling identity through a licensing deal. Plan B. While one crew refined a studio system, another tested scale through paperwork. Plan B, the dream team, licensed. What do you trade when you license a super team to a surf conglomerate? Plan B had to answer that in real time. The brand started with Mike Ternasky's vision and a 1990s impact that set the bar for video parts, then relaunched in 2005 under Danny Way and Colin McKay, with Syndrome Distribution's backing, to rebuild the myth with a modern roster and a clear goal. The next move was scale. In March 2010, Plan B signed an exclusive 10-year licensing deal with Billabong International Limited. Paul Nod said the arrangement would let Plan B focus on its core capabilities while leveraging the Billabong Group's global infrastructure. The plan also aimed to place Element and Plan B under branch distribution. Though by early 2014 the initiative had no active site, the roster kept evolving. The relaunch brought back Pat Duffy and added Paul Rodriguez, PJ Ladd, and Ryan Gallant. Rodriguez called it a testament to Danny Way's dedication. By 2012, McKay described a self-driven team that filmed together when possible, while also running their own programs. In July 2013, Rodriguez left, saying he wanted to own a little bit more of myself. True dropped in December 2014. Danny Way said it would mirror the original team in a modern-day way. Under heavy expectations, writers like PJ Ladd, Tori Pudwill, and Chris Joslin delivered big moments. The balance was delicate. maintain legend while incubating new talent inside corporate timelines. As licensing unwound, independence returned, and rider-first calls took priority. From there, another founder showed how a singular lens, music, spots, and a tight fisheye could define an entire era. The Zero Skateboards. How did one founder turn heavy music, raw spots, and tight fisheye shots into a global identity? Jamie Thomas did it by building Zero, starting as clothing in 1995, then Dex in 1996, and leaving Toy Machine to become Zero's first pro. That move made him the voice and the filter. The look and the work ethic formed together, and the bar for effort went up. Control didn't come easy. Zero ran through distribution phases. Home under Black Box, then a run with Dwindle in 2014, and back to independent by 2016. Each shift asked the same question: can you grow reach and still hold the wheel? The answer was in the output. Thrill of it all, 1997, arrived with quick edits, VX grain, and that Mark I depth lens glued to the action. Misled Youth, 1999, hit as a golden era. Dying to Live, 2002, kept the charge. And years later, Cold War, 2013, proved the formula still had power. Big rails, black denim, songs that matched the hit. The videos read like a promise: commit and make it count. Thomas did more than direct. In 2003, he opened a plant in Tijuana, Mexico, to manufacture black box decks, map tours, and enforce tight filming standards so every part felt earned. The roster backed it up: John Rattray, Ryan Smith, Chris Cole, each adding weight while the identity stayed sharp. Collabs and new faces kept the tone current without losing the core. Zero's payoff is a production ethic: risk-forward stories with an operational spine that holds. From there, attention shifts to footwear, and the brand that turned product drops into events. DC Shoes. Before sneaker collabs ruled everything, which skate brand wrote the playbook? DC Shoes did, and it started with Ken Block and Damon Way evolving 8-Ball to drawers to a footwear company built around performance. They moved fast from apparel to shoes, and even the logo had to evolve. Early versions drew trademark heat from Champion and Converse, which led to the cleaner mark with the 7-point star that stuck. That early pivot showed how the brand adjusted under pressure. Growth came quick, and that raised a risk: go too mainstream and lose the core. DC answered with product and storytelling. Signature models set the tone. Danny Way's DW1 and Colin McKay's shoe framed the performance lane. Then Sung Choi designed the Lynx in 1997, slimmer than the era's bulk and built to skate and to wear off-board. It became the brand's defining model. The Kayla's line showed range with cup soles, then lighter and Volk versions. Stevie Williams' shoe, inspired by the Air Jordan 12, brought a bold wrap detail and became a street staple. Now the collabs. In 2001, the artist projects launched before collaborations were common. Pairings with Supreme, KAWS, and Obey connected skate, art, and streetwear. Rob Dyrdek's TV presence on Robin Big pushed DC into living rooms, amplifying every drop and tour. From 2001 to 2003, the catalog hit a peak. Court Graphic, Pure, Manteca, and the Legacy OG, styled like classic Air Max lines, spread DC's look worldwide while staying functional on a board. That template helps explain how the 2000s felt engineered by a handful of builders who turned shoes, teams, and symbols into culture. From that lens, the decade reads like a map of people steering ideas with intent. The 2000s felt engineered by 10 architects who turned teams into narratives, logos into languages, and day-to-day operations into culture you could feel. Each founder built more than product. They built a mood you can still spot in a clip, a board wall, or a tour flyer. If this lens shifted how you see your favorite brand, tell us the founder story that surprised you most and which one you want next. Call out the graphic that stuck with you or the video part that set your standard. Skate history moves through people. Follow for the next chapter of the architects behind the graphics.